What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Impulse Buyer YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a little review on a Caltrick starter gear setup. This is a one-way bearing. This is what you have engaged when you hit the starter on a little youth machine. And on this unit, you've got a plastic piece in here that you'll pull out, and that holds in your bearings that lock against your actual shaft on the starter gear. And I had this one fail, so I don't even know what happened to the little ball bearings that go in there. You can see that one's starting to fall apart, and my clutch itself had received a little bit of damage. So I bought this kit that came with the belt. You've got your primary and secondary, and within this I had more parts that had failed and got marred up and just resisted against spinning freely. So I decided to get this kit entirely. I'm going to link it below so you guys can check that out. I'm definitely impressed with the build quality and how nice this is going to work. The only thing I didn't get with this kit, which I've ordered, is the nut, because the nut feels just like it's made out of a really lightweight, cheap quality. So I ordered a replacement nut. And on the back of this, you can see there, it's got a ton of wear against where the gear sat, and it ran on the shaft. And the shaft should be under here. So I'm just going to replace the whole thing. That way I have what I need to make sure everything's going to engage properly. I've replaced the starter gear on the starter as well. This is for a 2003 Sportsman 90. So as you can see here, this is the little youth quad that I'm working on. And if I grab a light for you guys, you can see I'm going to remove that clutch CVT part. And then I'll clean up with some brake clean and press on that new needle bearing, and then I'll get it all put back together. I've got a gasket for the housing. The gasket was torn. The gaskets are kind of tough for these to come apart without having that actually get ruined. And then you should be good to go. The starter gear will sit on up in that housing up there, and that's what actually engages the starter. So when you crank over the machine, everything will spin freely the way it's supposed to, and you can hopefully start the machine without any issues. I've got the old belt here. I've also got the replacement foam that goes on that breather housing. And I picked one of those up on Amazon. These tend to get really weird and they deteriorate and they fall apart. So this is a fresh foam, so that won't be an issue anymore. And we'll be back together. I'll also be able to have this function for the backup kickstart. So if you want to be able to kick it over manually, you can certainly do that as well. I'm definitely impressed with Caltrick, the brand that this came in. You've got plastic wear points here that can wear over time. Obviously, it might be a little bit lighter than this version. This has got some weight to it, but I won't have as many concerns of that falling apart because it's actually going to be held together with solid steel instead of having something that's going to wear out and then decide to give up the bearings and give me problems in the future. So definitely recommend you check out Caltrick. I'll link a couple of the parts that I bought below to do this little rebuild. It should be a relatively easy job. If you're mechanically inclined, you know what you're doing, definitely worth the time and effort to get this put back together. The other thing you can do if you're looking for more performance in your machine, well, let me see here if I can do this carefully. Underneath here are your weights. Can I pull this apart? There we go. So you see you can change your weights so that it'll interact with how quick your clutch engages. So if you put heavier or lighter weights in there, they lobe the style and how they engage, and it pushes against those rollers. So there's a lot you can do with clutches. If you're learning over the course of working on several different machines, you can play with that as well and see how things engage, and if it feels like it's gonna be something that you wanna mess with from a performance standpoint. This should all just be relatively similar to stock OEM, which I'm having younger kids ride this machine. It shouldn't be an issue. They're not going to need more additional power. Obviously, the machine has good compression. It should work properly the way it is. But just wanted to do a quick video to show you guys some of the build quality and my results and what I found after I tore the clutch down. You're definitely going to find that you're going to run into other parts you think you run into that you need. But for the most part, I've been impressed with this, and I am excited to throw this back together.